Hi Year 11, this is the first of the DIRT lessons we're doing after the mocks. We're going to do one on listening and one on reading. We're going to start off with the listening. You will have seen on Google Classroom there's an awful lot of information that I've written down for you to look at and read through. Don't panic if this looks a bit too much at the moment. What I'm trying to do is set out in detail what you can do to get the most out of reflecting on how the mocks went and then preparing for the next assessment. It tells you in that long message that we'll be doing a reading assessment next, and your parents will be getting information about the next assessment point and the sort of second lot of mocks, if that's what we're calling them. So first of all, your listening paper, you need to have in front of you for this video your own paper that you did, your listening paper. You need to have thought about or be thinking about how you did, which questions you found difficult. Now, there are things attached in Google Classroom. You have got a post-mocks reflection sheet, which is going to be quite useful to you in sort of focusing your revision. You have got also attached the transcript for the listening papers. I've put the Hiram Foundation transcript and mark scheme. So all of those are there to be printed out, probably is the most useful thing, but if you can't print them, then look at them on the screen. You will need to refer to them as we go through this video. So if you haven't quite got those, then pause the video and come back when you have. Okay, so moving on. I don't intend to look at I can't look at everything in these lessons. You need to take some of the sort of the responsibility here to look at what you personally struggle with. You'll have different needs, you'll have different areas that you need to improve. So do this in a structured way so that you really get the most out of this process. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is try and get my PowerPoint to work. Here we go. So tenses, can you group these first of all? We've got, I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tenses at the top of the screen there. Preterite, conditional, imperfect, perfect, present, simple future and immediate future. If you're thinking, I haven't even heard of some of those, well, you have, but maybe they get forgotten, and there's an awful lot I know. So, but all of these were examples from the paper. And if you didn't know some of these, then it will have cost you some marks during the exam. So take about, I don't know, 8 or so minutes to write down those headings for the tenses and then try and group them. Pause the video now to do that, and when you are ready, move on. Okay, so I'm assuming that you have you paused it, you thought about it, you thought, I've never heard of half of these, and you have now hopefully identified them. If you haven't got them all right, don't panic about it. They're here and you can look back and work out why they are the tense they are. So you had quite a lot of preterite tenses. They had, looking through it, there was a lot of preterite and a lot of perfect tenses used in this exam paper. So the preterite are rompió, me animaron, me dieron, se cayeron, murió, vendimos, aprobé. So he or she broke. They, it's sort of helped me feel more. If someone comes along and sort of says, "Come on, let's get going and let's go and play tennis or something," then they're getting you going. That's me animaron. They livened me up basically. Me dieron, they gave to me. Se cayeron, they fell over. Murió, he died. Vendimos, we sold. Aprobé, I passed. Okay, present tenses. I'm going to put a couple of those. There weren't that many in the paper. Well, there were a lot in the paper, but there weren't very many that I thought would give you problems. Me llevo, you would use to say I get on with. Me llevo bien con mi hermano. I get on well with my brother. Vendemos is from vender. That was quite frequently used, that verb in this paper. It means we sell. Underneath the present, you've got the conditional down here. Sería útil. It would be useful. They should, deberían. There were quite a few of these. Most of them, hopefully, they were high frequency verbs. You would recognize them, but you need to check that ending. Here we got the infinitive, ser, with an ending on it. Deber, with an ending on it. So the perfect tenses, that's the I have, we have done, we have been, he has eaten. Here, I have destroyed, destrozado. We have sold, hemos vendido. They have received, han recibido. Nunca he entrado, I have never entered. The imperfect tense. This is the one used for used to or background detail, and the repeated action in the past. So comían, they used to eat. Peleaba, he used to argue or fight. He used to sell, vendía. Simple future. This is I will, he will go out, and so on. So the first one is I will go out. They will benefit. They will sell. And the immediate future is that's I'm going to, or he's going to. Va a vender, he's going to sell. Vamos a dar, we're going to give. Okay, so those were the tenses that you needed to recognize in order to access quite a lot of this paper. Now, in the foundation paper, there weren't as many perfect tenses, for example, but there were other ones they would expect you to get. So certainly pressurate, present, conditional, and imperfect, also in the immediate future, and also the imperfect. So make sure, I think these two, the perfect and the simple future, maybe there are fewer of them, but you do need to recognize them. Okay, so moving on, I looked at some vocab then from the paper, which would have been really sort of quite crucial to you getting marks. And this is where quite a few of you lost marks by not knowing this vocab. So we have small print, there's going to be a lot of it. Okay. I don't know how many there are, I didn't number them, 20 or so. There's one more. Yes, there we go. So can you please pause the video, see how many of these you can recognize and write down in English as well, please. These were words that made you lose marks. People didn't know these words. So pause the video, see how many you can find. Off you go. Thank you. Okay, so assuming you've paused the video for a while and you've worked out quite a few of these, looked them up or had time to think about them, which was longer than you had to think in the actual exam, this is what you should have got. So los recursos was resources. That came in a question about what should parents do to help students with revising for exams. They needed to have a quiet place with all the resources they needed, and that's the bit that most of you, or quite a few of you, didn't get. So los recursos, resources. Recaudar dinero, that's to raise money, or is to collect or to raise. When you're saying we're going to have a cake sale to raise money for a charity. Recaudar. Ayudar is to help. Jamás is never. Make a note of that. You know nunca, and you know that well, but jamás is also never. Los mayores are older people. Quite a few who didn't get that. That's what they're raising money for in one question. Los gamberros are hooligans. Sin techo, you should know this, homeless. Borrar, this was in a question which was really tricky, all about erasing the data on the hard disk on computers. And most of you didn't get that at all. Borrar is to erase. Aumentar is to get bigger, it's to augment in English. Aumentar is to increase, so make sure you know that one. It was in something sigue aumentando, it carries on increasing. Sufrir daños is to suffer damage. El apoyo, you have to know this one comes up quite frequently in listening and reading papers. It's support. Necesito el apoyo de mis padres. I need the support of my parents. Una contraseña is a password. A menudo, often. Las amistades are friendships. It was all about you need to know what friendships your children have online. Think about an amnesty. Oh, sorry, not an amnesty. I'm talking nonsense here. Amigo. Los amigos are friends, so it comes from the same word. Disfrutar is to enjoy. And listo can mean two things. If it's with the verb to be, it's to be clever. Ser listo. Que listo eres. How clever you are. Estar listo is to be ready. So, ¿estás listo? Are you ready? So be careful with that one, depending on which verb it comes with. La lluvia is rain. Un estuche is a pencil case. Most of you didn't get that. That's what the boy wanted his dad to buy him as a new pencil case. Y los cambios are changes. Okay, so there's some key vocab that you need to know in order to access that paper. There will be lots more. Now, in your Google Classroom, I have said you need to go through the paper. You need to go through the transcript. You need to, in an ideal world, what you'll do is go through, highlight all the stuff you don't know, and you'll find it. And then you'll think about which topic or which theme does it go into? Is it particular area? Do I not know the vocab to do with jobs or work experience? Am I struggling with stuff about social issues? I was going to look at about 4 questions today, and I picked out ones which are in common to both papers. So the first questions, if you look at your own answer paper, if you did the higher paper, look at questions 1 and 2. If you did the foundation paper, look at questions 12 and 13. And I need to minimize this so we can look at the thing here. So question 1 and 2 was this one here. This was on the higher paper. This, if you're looking at the foundation paper, you need to look at question 12 and 13. It's the same question, they just put it in a different place. Okay, so quite a few of you lost marks here on what I thought was a fairly straightforward question. So they were telling about charity activities. This month they sold cream cakes to raise money for unemployed people. So we want last month they sold. Who were they raising money for? What are they going to sell next month to raise money for who? That's what you're looking for. So we look at the transcript for this. So here's the example. This month we have sold, and there's that perfect tense, hemos vendido. We've sold cream cakes, and there's that verb, that recaudar, to raise money for unemployed people. So the next one, you want last month we sold. Nuestros is games, sorry, is our. Juguetes is games, and they're old games. Juguetes viejos. So juego is, or jugar is to play. Juego, I play. Un juego can be a game, like we're going to play a game, but toys are juguetes. So they're going to sell our old games, or we're going to sell our old games to raise money for ill children. Most of you got that they were ill children. The second part of that, question 2, was next month we are going to sell uniforms, and it's de segunda mano. So mano is hand, segunda is second. So it's second-hand uniforms. A lot of you didn't get that. And this time it's to raise money for, and it's not for old people. You didn't get the mark if you put that. They're raising money for the old people's home. So la residencia de ancianos. All right, so you had to have some mention of la residencia. Okay, so that was question 1 and 2 in the higher, and 12 and 13 in the foundation. We're going to do something similar, excuse me, with questions 8, 9, and 10 in the higher paper, which are the same as questions 3, 4, and 5 in the foundation. So let's have a look at that one. I need to just go through. So we're 8, 9, and 10. So I'm going down through the transcript in the higher paper, excuse me, to questions 8, 9, and 10. And in the actual question paper, 8, 9, and 10 is here. It's about the person's describing where they live. Now, quite a few of you missed points here. And it's because you didn't understand a couple of key bits of vocab. So looking at the transcript, just looking at the question again. What aspect does she like about her bedroom, her house, her town, and her region? So you're looking for the aspect she likes. So here we go. The example was my room is untidy, but the views from the window are beautiful. So she liked the views. Here we've got the new kitchen is lovely. En cambio, if you don't know that, write that down. On the other hand, the living room doesn't have anything special. So she liked the new kitchen is the thing that she liked. Second one, en la ciudad, in the city, el centro comercial es feo. The shopping center is ugly, pero el polideportivo tiene instalaciones buenas. But the sports center has good facilities. So what she liked about the city was the good facilities at the sports center. And the third one, this is interesting. It's one word lots of you didn't know. En la región hay un río precioso y me gusta mucho ir ahí. Sin embargo, el transporte es un desastre. So in the region, there is a beautiful river, un río precioso, and I like going there a lot. However, the transport is a disaster. Okay, so what she likes, or he or she likes, it was a she because it's feminine, in what she likes in the region is the river. And lots of you didn't have that. Okay, so let's just go back to the paper. There we go, in the region, so house, kitchen, the new kitchen, the sports centre facilities and the river. Okay, so now there are lots of other ones I could go through. It's what I did was pick out a couple that were in common in both papers. There was one other one I wanted to look at, which was question 16 in the higher paper. So question 16 here. Right, this you found difficult. This was the podcast, and essentially they were asking you to understand this education expert, what he was saying about young people and how do parents sort of need to understand their behavior, that sort of thing. So we've got, what must parents understand? In what way do teenagers appear to reject their parents? It is important for parents to set parental controls, and then explain how parents should help with their homework. Most people did okay on 17, so it was just 16 that I wanted to look at. So let's find the transcript. So question 16. Here we go. Right, so the question they're asking Ivan, who's on this podcast, Ivan, estos años pueden ser estresantes para los jóvenes, ¿no? So these years can be stressful for young people, can't they? Yes, of course, he says. Now, parents tienen que entender, they have to understand, tener que plus an infinitive, to have to do something, que es un periodo de cambios y los jóvenes requieren apoyo. So they need to understand that it's a period of change and young people need support. And when you see it written down, it's so much easier. And I know it's hard. It's a listening paper, this, and it's difficult. But you sort of have a look at it. Cambios are changes. Un periodo, why am I having trouble pronouncing that? Un periodo de cambios. Y los jóvenes requieren apoyo. They need support. Next question, how can parents give this support? And this was a tricky one. They still need, so they need still to give their love and attention, although at times young people seem to distance themselves, there's that say because it's a reflexive verb, from their parents. And that was a very tricky one. This is right in the sort of hardest part of the paper, this bit. So they still need to give their love and attention, although sometimes young people seem to distance themselves from their parents. And the last question, how should they demonstrate their interest? Parents, this is. It's important that they know the friendships and the contacts of their children on social media. Also, they must take an interest in, or they must interest themselves in, what they watch, what the children watch on the internet. 17 was, should parents help children with their homework? It depends. It's one thing to offer a quiet place with all the necessary resources, and it's another thing to do the work for them. Okay, now that was very tricky, but hopefully that's helped to unpick it a bit. They have to understand that it's a period of change for young people, and they need their support. Teenagers seem to distance themselves from their parents, and it's important for parents to be aware of who their children are in touch with. And the last bit there, number 17, I think you did better on that. You did pretty well on this, but it's they should provide them with a quiet place with all the necessary resources to do their work. They shouldn't do the work for them. Okay, so the other one other one that I'm going to look at very quickly is 29, I think it is. Yes. Now this one, I don't know if this came up in the foundation paper as well. I think it, let's have a look here, 12 and 13 maybe. No. No, I don't think it was on the foundation paper, but it's worth having a look at this one anyway. So what's the weather going to be tomorrow? You're listening to the weather forecast on the radio in Spain. Complete the sentences in Spanish. So 29, I don't know why people didn't get this. Okay, so 29 and 30. So have a very quick look. So 29 was, in the northwest, clouds will be with us all day, but the fog will disappear at midday because of the wind in the afternoon. All right, so that meant in the afternoon there will be wind. And what else will there be then? In the afternoon there will be wind. Oh, there'll still be clouds. So clouds are going to be with us. So there'll be clouds all day, but the fog's going to disappear because of the wind. So that means in the afternoon there'll be wind and clouds. And in the center, I mean, you're answering this, let's have a look, in Spanish anyway, so you just need to recognize the words. In the center, it's going to be a day of something and something. En el centro, aunque va a ser bastante frío, por lo menos veremos el sol después de las tormentas de ayer. Lots of you put tormentas. This means in the center, although it is going to be quite cold, at least we will see the sun after yesterday's storms. So question was, in the center, it's going to be a day of what and what? Quite cold. So it'll be a bit cold, but it'll be sunny. So bastante frío and sol is what you're looking for there. And that caused quite a few problems, that question. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint. We've looked at a couple of questions. Hopefully that's given you some pointers as to what to look at. What I'd like you to do now is you need to complete your post-mocks reflection. You need to reflect on your preparation for these mocks. Think, how are you going to prepare for the next assessments? You need to go through the transcript. You need to really look for the stuff that you don't know, highlight it, underline it, and make word lists. Whether you have mind maps or lists, I don't mind. Whether you use Seneca or memorize all the stuff that I put in the Google Classroom, then please have a look at that. Also, think about, what did you know? You knew stuff. You did well. Some of you got some excellent marks. So what are your strengths? Why do you think they're strengths? Why are you proud of them? And then think about the 3 areas needing development. Why do these need development? And think about strategies for improvement. Why are these going to help you? Okay, so you can pause on here while you write it down. Think about, what are you going to do? When you're ready, move on. Okay, now we're not going to do that because I can't actually play the listening file from home, and you have got the transcript in front of you. Okay, so methodically go through that paper, find out what you didn't know, and work out how you're going to know it for next time. And thank you very much for all your work, Year 11, and I will see you for a similar session with the reading paper. Thank you.